to order. And Secretary, call the roll.
Senator Carpenter, Senator Givens, Senator Howe,
Here.
Senator Parrott, Senator Thayer,
Here.
Senator Webb, Senator West,
Here.
Senator Westerfield, Senator Wise, Senator Caslin, and Chairman Hornback.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We do have a quorum, and we'll proceed with the meeting. I want to introduce first Tanner Fisher. Tanner is intern for the Ag and Natural Resources. Tanner, if you'd stand up. I'd like to welcome you here to serve with us this session of the legislature, so thank you for being here. Would like to remind members, just for the future, that I do have a 24-hour requirement for subs, so just be sure and obey that 24-hour requirement for subs. We've got one bill today, Senator Meredith. You got Senate Bill 42. If you would come forward, introduce yourself for the record, and you may proceed. Glad to see you here today.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Steve Meredith, State Senator for the 5th District, and appreciate the opportunity to be your first bill and your first committee for this session. And trying to reflect, I think it's been 3 years since I've been before this committee, and I'm hoping for a much better outcome than I had the last time I was here. But different subject matter altogether.
You might thank Senator Givens for that, if I remember correctly.
I'm not going to cast aspersions on anyone this morning. I'm trying to feel the love here. This Senate Bill 42 is, as we like to say, is one of those simple little bills. And it's got an interesting history to it. It started out because of my work on government contract review. And my local jailer told me that he was being audited by the state auditor, obviously, and that there's some discrepancy in our model procurement code, and the language for food procurement is what we have with, it's actually KRS 424.26, which is the requirement to bid for food services. And when you look at the definition under both those regulations, they're not the same. And as I was looking at it, it was very narrow in scope. For example, KRS 424.260 says that you're exempted from bidding for perishable meat, fish, and vegetables. Well, that's kind of narrow. Then when you look at the model procurement code, it says purchase of perishable items purchased on a weekly or more frequent basis, such as fresh fruits, vegetables, or meat. I mean, well, food covers a whole lot more areas than that. I thought, so here's an opportunity not just to clean up this language, but maybe help grow our markets locally for other food products. So that's why the language now says foods such as meat, fish, poultry, egg products, vegetables, or any perishable foods with a label indicating sale, use, or consumption by a certain date. And I really thought this was an opportunity, if we broaden these definitions, to allow local vendors to bring more products to the table. Also could help deal with the issue of critical supply chain issues we're dealing with right now. Because, we've got stores that have bare shelves, and it's hard to get delivery on food products. So, again, very simply, this is to make the language consistent with our model procurement code and KRS 424.260, but also just broaden the definition of what food products are and what needs to be bid, what doesn't need to be bid, and hopefully grow our agri-market even more within our local communities. That's the essence of the bill, Mr. Chair, and if there are any questions, I certainly would entertain them.
Well, thank you, Senator Meredith, and I really appreciate it being from agriculture and that you're looking into a better way, or a much simpler way, to get some of our local fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff out there to the public. I know there's a lot of interest in that. I know it's very difficult to do because my daughter has gone through that process, and it is very difficult. But I do appreciate your interest in it and what you're doing on this. Senator West.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Meredith, for bringing this bill, and appreciate what you're trying to do. And we have some really good conversations on procurement and government contracts. Educate me a little bit. It's local public agency. Does that include schools?
It would,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. I thought that it did. Just want to make sure. So, man, I really see that opening up a lot of Kentucky Proud products and local products, and see a lot of good things that could happen there. But that was my only question.
I think it's a natural for the farm to food to table initiative that we have, and just they can open up some great local markets. And I think probably the impact of this is going to be more with our rural communities. But you all know I'm a rural community guy, and this help build those markets and just help build the economy of our rural areas.
And another thing it does, if there is ever any question, it FFA or schools that have these farms out back, they can put that food directly from the farm to the cafeteria table. So appreciate you, Bill. Thanks for the answer.
And I think it gives our local public agencies more flexibility as well, which is needed during this period of high inflation. It's crushing. You can't predict what your food budget is going to be, and it's an opportunity, I think, to purchase things locally at lower prices. So it gives them that flexibility as well.
Any other questions? Not to have a motion on the bill?
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion or anything else you'd like to say, Senator Meredith?
No, again, just the evolution of this from being just a change in regulation, trying to make it consistent, to something I think can have a really positive impact on our rural communities, and he'll build up those economies, and that's why I really have a passion for this particular bill. But thank you.
Well, if there are no further questions, Secretary, call the roll.
Senator Carpenter, Senator Caslin, Senator Givens, Senator Howe,
Aye.
Senator Parrott, Senator Thayer,
Aye.
Senator Webb, Senator West, Senator Westerfield, Senator Wise, and Chairman Hornback.
Aye.
Passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Your bill passes 8-0, and it moves forward. Senator Meredith, thank you for being here today. Thank you for passing the first bill out of Ag Committee. And I personally want to thank you. I've served on the Contract Review Committee for 12 years, ever since I've been here, and it's a great committee to be on. You learn a lot about state government in that. But you have sincerely done a great job, an outstanding job the last few years of running that committee, looking at our procurement codes, looking at the contracts the state does. I just want to thank you for the leadership on that committee and the good work you've done in making sure that our contracts are done in a proper way.
Thank you, Chairman Hornback, and I want to thank the members of this committee for being receptive to this bill and passing it. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else got any other business? If not, have a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned.